Hello, students. I'm going to go over how to navigate through Configure It and just take a look at a couple problems that you've had for your homework here. Let's start off with the SAS 20. If you click on that, now you can see I kind of actually tried to do some of this earlier, but the system wasn't working. So I'm just going to start fresh. And here's a hint. Right away, if you look at side angle side 20, that's the name of the proof, but it also tells you how to prove the triangle is congruent. That's your goal, is use side angle side. So what does that mean? It means I need two sides and an angle, and I need the included angle. And then using the given information, that's what the little gift box say, that's how we're going to justify our claims. So if I look at this, AC is the bisector of ED. So this line, AC, cuts the other line into two equal pieces. Well, I'm going to use that. I'm going to add a new claim based off of the first given, and I want to state that I have congruent segments. So I'm going to choose the segment, and then I'm going to look at the option, and I will choose congruent segments. Then I'll click on the blanks. Well, what did I want to be congruent? I wanted EB. Notice you got three options here. EB needs to be congruent to BD. I'll hit claim, and then I have to confirm. Well, how do I know that? Since this was the given information, it's the word bisector. So I'm going to look for the option that talks about a bisector. And right here, a segment bisector divides another segment into two congruent parts. And then I have to decide which one was the bisector. Well, I'm going to use the given up here, but I'm going to confirm it. AC was the line that cut ED into two equal pieces. So I'll hit submit, and there I just prove a pair of sides congruent. So notice they're added to my picture. If I go up and highlight or hover, that'll highlight the part of the picture that I justified or I claimed. Now let's use this next one. ED is a bisector of AC, so ED cuts the other line into half, into two equal pieces. So I'll make a new claim. It's about segments, and then we're going to go to congruent segments, and now I have to choose which ones are congruent. Now here's a hint. Instead of choosing this piece first, we always want to select from the given triangle that was provided first. So AEB triangle is this triangle here. So I'm going to choose AB, and that's going to be congruent to the triangle, the piece of the triangle in the other section, which was CB, or in this case, BC. I'll click claim, and then I'm going to click confirm, and it's the definition of bisector again. So I'm going to go to that same option. A segment bisector divides another segment into two congruent pieces. And then you could either say that ED, you can click on the line ED, it bisects AC, or you can just click the claim from above and it'll automatically fill that in. Just make sure you're clicking on the right given, otherwise it won't work. So what do I have? I have two sides, and I need a side angle side. So I need the included angle, which is another claim. So now I'm going to say angles are congruent, and we want to choose congruent angles. So I'll click on that. And then I have to decide which ones. And this is the nice part about this, is you don't have to type them in. It's nice to confirm that, but you can just go over here and see the small angle. That's the angle EBA. I'm going to click on the small angle, and then that's equal to the other angle, which is DBC. And notice there's, well, here there's only one option, so I'll click on that, and that filled that in. Yeah, that filled it in right there. So now I'll click claim, confirm. How do I know that? Well, it's a bow tie. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the picture that looks like a bow tie because those are vertical angles, and vertical angles are congruent. And here, everything's already filled in for me, so I'm going to hit submit. And now I have side angle side, which means I'm ready to prove this statement. Notice in the unjustified claim, they'll always give you your last statement kind of started for you. So if I click on unjustified claim, why are the triangles congruent? Because side angle side. And you're just going to look through. The first one happens to be side angle side. And then you have to tell me which ones. Well, here's a nice thing. If you already have it in your proof, you can just click on here's a pair of sides. Now we have to pick the angles, and then I have to go back to the other pair of sides. And if you ever get anything wrong, if it says that like it highlights this and says it's wrong, there's a strong chance that you might have flipped the two because all the items on the left-handed side have to be from the triangle AEB. And all the items on the right-handed side have to be from the triangle CVB. If one of them's flipped, it's not going to understand that and it'll say you got it wrong. So there you go. Well done. Perfect. We just did that one for you. Now if I try another activity, um, this one should have turned blue right here. It's, oh, I guess I could have done this. If I click on the Y, so I went back to the one I was looking at. Here's my statement and reason, just like the two-column proofs we did. So if you click on the Y button right here, it'll show you why it's true, and then that's our two-column proof. Okay, so if I go back to my home, let's try one more. Let's do one with Cpctc. Let's do a side, side, side. Notice, actually, you know what? I'm not going to do this one, but notice it's bisectors again. That's almost the same work as we just did. So let's do side, angle, side, angle. Oh, that's a really good one for you guys to try. So here's what we got. We have to prove that a segment, notice, prove that AC is congruent to BE. That's not a triangle, which means we have to use Cpctc, and then they tell us what method to use. So remember, we have to first prove triangles are congruent, and then the last step is to prove using Cpctc that the corresponding pieces are congruent. So I'm going to look at the given information. They gave me that D is the midpoint. Well, from that statement, if D is midpoint of AB, isn't D perfectly in the middle? Which means we can make a new claim based off of the first given statement. I'm going to state that the segments are congruent. And I'm going to go over here. I want to pick the ones from the right triangle. So I'm going to click on this and say AD, and then is congruent to BD. Click claim. Now, how do I know that? Well, I have a couple options, but remember, this is a vocabulary term. If it says it in your proof, you want to try to use that. So I'm going to look for midpoint. And I'm going to scroll through. Now here it says angle or segment bisector, but we don't have a bisector. We have a point. So I got to go to the next one. A midpoint divides a line into two congruent parts. So I click on that. Now I have to know which point is the midpoint. I can just go up here and snap it in, and it'll fill in the blanks. Submit. And there we go. Now look at the other two given pieces of information. They're gifts, right? Those are given. So what do we have? We have an angle, a side, and an angle, and that matches perfectly with their corresponding angle, side, angle. So now I'm ready to prove triangles are congruent. They don't give me that, so I have to go to a new claim, and now I want to prove triangles. And I want to prove congruent triangles. So I'm going to go over here, and I want to click on the one on the left-handed side first. If you click on it, it just fills it out for you, A, C, D. And then if I click on the next one, that should give me, oops, that should fill in. BDE. Okay, so if I match these up, I'll hit claim, confirm, and why did I know that? This was angle, side, angle. Right there, you can look at the picture, but also read the description, angle, side, angle. It's the included side, and then I have to say which angles. Well, here's an angle, here's an angle, oops. I gotta go to my side next, and then here's the last angle, and hit submit. And notice, I thought I was done for a second because I was like, oh, triangles are congruent. But that's not what they wanted me to prove. They wanted me to prove the sides are congruent. Well, we just proved the triangles are congruent, so the last statement is click on their unjustified claim. And why do I know AC is congruent to BE? Because congruent triangles, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So I'm going to look for the two congruent triangles right here, Cpctc. Corresponding sides of congruent triangles are congruent. And then they're going to say, well, what triangles are congruent? That's what we just proved. Notice, before I can use this, I have to have the triangles proved congruent. That's why that's a claim that we have to state. Submit, and we're done. So Go ahead and try this. It seems to be working perfectly right now. Give it a shot and good luck.